馬車迎えに来るの迎えに来るのね誰かが私を連れて行くのね白い花の道へ風のふるさとへ連れて行くのね連れて行くのねWonderful, it looks like yet another perfect day. Good morning, Diana! Oh. Diana, please listen to me. I must tell you something. It's important.
You've already said enough, like yesterday when you told me our friendship was over. Honestly, why should I listen to what you have to say?
Diana, don't be like that. I said I was sorry, so please forgive me. Believe me, it's important, or else everything I wrote yesterday would mean nothing.
Oh, what did you write, Anne?
A farewell letter. Diana, late yesterday afternoon, I actually stared death in the face.
You don't say!
I ate apples that I'd found in the stable, but what I didn't know was that they'd been filled with rat poison. It was only after that I discovered my grave mistake.
It could only happen to you. All right, I'll forgive you, but only because you stared death in the face.
Thank you, Diana.
Now you can tell me the story about the apples.
All right. You'd better prepare yourself, Diana. I've something else to tell you. Guess what? I'm also going to Queen's College.
And that's wonderful.
Yes. Miss Stacy came to talk to us about it yesterday afternoon. Marilla and Matthew thought it was a good idea and gave their permission straight away. Right there and then I told them both that I'd like to become a teacher one day. Although I have this horrible red hair.
Oh, stop that for once. It's time for you to get used to your hair. I think it's nice.
I'll never get used to it. And I feel sorry for you because you'll have to attend Queen's with a friend who has red hair and who isn't particularly attractive. But aside from my hair, I've always dreamt of becoming a teacher. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that my parents were also teachers. Although I've been living at Green Gables for some time, we must never forget that I'm just an orphan. I would never have had the courage to ask if I could go to Queen's. Just imagine. It was Matthew and Marilla's idea all along. They promised themselves to give me the best education possible. I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am.
Yes, it's really very nice of them.
Life is just so much better since I found out that I'm going to Queen's. It's wonderful. I can't imagine ever having been so happy in my life. I could just burst with excitement. I want Matthew and Marilla to be proud of me. What's wrong with you, Diana?
Oh, nothing.
You're still cross with me because of yesterday, right?
No, I'm not, Anne.
I hope you're not lying. Diana, I had a dream. I dreamt we passed our entrance exams for Queen's with flying colours. I was so excited at the thought that my heart started beating ever so wildly.
Anne,
what's wrong?
I'm staying here. I'm not going to Queen's.
Have you got a pencil for me?
Diana, is it really so? Are you telling the truth?
Yes.
But why then? I thought that Miss Stacy visited your parents too. She did, didn't she, Diana?
She did.
Then tell me why you're not going.
Anne Shirley, stop making a noise.
Diana, please tell me why you don't want to go to Queen's College anymore. I was 100% certain the two of us would study together. At the agricultural show in Charlottetown some time ago, you said you were born for city life. You did say that, didn't you, Diana? What's the reason for not...
Please stop. It's no use.
No, I'm sorry, I won't stop. Because if you're not going to Queen's, I'll have to go alone.
My parents made the decision for me. It's what they want. They want me to stay here. So I suppose the sooner you get used to the idea, the better.
What absolute nonsense. And what about you? How do you feel about it? Do you want to go to Queen's? Jane, Ruby and Josie all are going, Diana.
It would, of course, have been wonderful if we could have stayed together.
Yes, you bet. My goodness, if I could get permission to go to Queen's College, you shouldn't have a problem.
I suppose you could be right, but...
Didn't you tell them from the beginning that you wanted to go?
Yes, I did. But...
Why don't I go with you to talk to them? I'm sure we'd be able to change their minds.
I'll do it by myself.
Promise?
Yes.
Well, I dare you to do it.
Please stop it, Anne. I don't want to hear another word. Goodbye.
I never ever considered the possibility that Diana might not go to Queen's with me. But I think she's not altogether innocent. She should have told her father that she wanted to go to college. Maybe he doesn't know of her hopes and dreams.
Anne, I thought you had more brains. Why do you always judge things from your point of view? You may be 100% sure Mr. Barry thought everything over with care. You have absolutely no right to get involved, my dear child.
It's just so unfair. He should have asked for Diana's opinion first.
Did you ask Diana? Do you know what she really wants? Are you quite sure she wants to become a teacher, just like you? Did you perhaps ask her that? You wanted to go to Queen's because you want to become a teacher. Maybe Diana just didn't tell you what she really thinks. Maybe you tried too hard to influence her, and for that reason she didn't feel she could tell you the truth. It could just be that she sees her future differently from yours. Maybe she wants something else that'll make her happy.
The whole time I thought of how much fun it would be if we were to learn everything together for our entrance exams. And until now I took it for granted that Diana would think and plan the way I do.
Anne, you can't force anybody else to live their life the way you want them to live their life.
Good morning, Diana.
Anne, are you here because of what I told you? Huh?
No, not at all. Come down anyway.
Oh,
I have to tell you something, Diana.
what?
I'm very stupid. Yesterday when we spoke about college and before that about marriage, I made a mistake or two. Then I assumed that since we are best friends, we have to do everything together. I was mistaken. I tried to force my opinion onto you, and that was very wrong. Friends must feel free to go their separate ways should it happen like that. I'm very sorry.
Anne,
Last night I spoke to Marilla about the two of us. I saw things quite differently afterwards. Of course we can still be friends forever. Whether we go to college together or not, you have my blessing if you want to get married and be the perfect wife.
Anne.
Diana, I probably confused you terribly. Once we promised each other everlasting loyalty, and we'll do so once again. That way we'll always have something that will bind us together.
Yes.
We'll have to be serious about it. I swear to be forever loyal to my best friend, Diana, for as long as the sun and the moon shine. Even in times when we have to go our separate ways, our hearts will always belong to each other.
I swear to be forever loyal to my best friend Anne, for as long as the sun and moon shine. Even in times when we have to go our separate ways, our hearts will always belong to each other.
Devoted friends, we swear to love though we may part, with all our hearts.
Anne and Diana had never been separated for longer than a day or two. The news that Diana would not be going to Queen's College really shocked Anne. Diana dreamed of being married one day. Anne wanted to be a teacher. This meant they would go their separate ways.
Gilbert Blythe, Anne Shirley, Ruby Gillis, Jane Andrews, Josie Pye, Charlie Sloane and Moody Spurgeon.
Anne still hoped the name Diana Barry would be read out. But her wish didn't come true.
The boys and girls whose names I've just read out must please stay behind in the classroom. The others may go home. We'll see one another tomorrow.
I'll be very proud of you.
I'll try my best, Diana.
I expect nothing less of you. Dearest Anne, as you know already, it is not only because my parents wish it that I decided not to go to Queen's College. I don't enjoy studying as much as you do. Also, I don't want to become a teacher. I should have told you that earlier on. Forgive me. But I didn't have the courage. You were so enthusiastic. I hope you'll find exactly what you've always dreamt of at Queen's. Learn and work hard so that you can become a good teacher. My thoughts will always be with you. I will always keep my oath of everlasting loyalty to you. No matter where I go in the future, you'll always be very special to me. Best wishes for college. Your best friend, Diana Barry.
Diana.
Is anything wrong, Anne?
It's nothing, Ruby, really.
Anne, really, you can't sit there and think of Diana all the time. This doesn't mean you're going to be separated for the rest of your
I
lives.
know that, Marilla. I felt quite brave this morning and I understood her decision. But when Diana left the classroom without me this afternoon, I suddenly felt this very strange urge to follow her. I had a very dark premonition I could taste the bitter tang of death in my mouth.
My goodness, why can't you talk like any other normal child? Besides, there's still a whole year left before you go to Queen's. You and Diana still have enough time for each other.
Mrs. Lindy once said to me, in our imperfect world, you can't expect everything to be perfect. Marilla, Diana and I swore we would be loyal to each other forever and ever. A second time. This time it will surely last. I'm positive that nothing will go wrong.
Anne attended the preparatory classes for Queen's College regularly. She and the other students made good progress. They all studied very hard because they knew what it meant to them, and they helped one another. All except Josie Pye. She even refused to sit next to Anne.
This one is slightly more difficult. Right. Who wants to try? Who has the courage? And so, can nobody get the answer? I simply don't believe it.
I can.
I can!
Anne Shirley and Gilbert Blythe, come to the front and try your luck. I'd like all the others to try as well. Don't give up.
You couldn't miss the fact that Anne and Gilbert Blythe were rivals. Earlier, it had been one-sided. Anne had wanted to do better than Gilbert Blythe. However, lately, everyone had noticed that Gilbert was trying to keep one step ahead of Anne.
Everybody's very excited about going to college, but they all want different things afterwards. I get the idea Ruby and Jane aren't too serious about college. I believe they want to study simply because they think it's chic.
I want to work for 2 years after I finish college, and then I want to marry.
Only 2 years? Why bother going to all that trouble, Ruby? Why do you want to study if you want to get married? I'm doing it because I want to earn my own money. I really have no desire to be dependent on a man.
Jane doesn't want to get married. She says men don't want to pay up. When you ask for money to buy eggs and butter, they always seem to get into a bad mood and ignore you. I think the poor thing must have had a couple of bad experiences.
Yes, seems like it.
Do you know what Prissy said the other day? She said her father is a real grouser. One can really do without such a man. Josie Pye is something else.
I want to study so I can join in and contribute to any conversation. I don't want to earn my own money. I'm well looked after, thank you. In that respect, I'm quite different from orphans who are always dependent on other
And
people.
to top it all, she went on to say that all orphans should work to earn their money.
And did you feel hurt? Well, whether you're an orphan or not, everyone should work for their money.
Yes, that's right. And besides, Anne, you are, after all, not an orphan anymore, are you?
Oh, Matthew!
You see, tell me, who else goes to the preparatory class?
There are 3 boys too. Gilbert Blythe, Charlie Sloane and Moody Spurgeon.
I would like to be a priest one day.
I managed to control myself, but Ruby and Jane burst out laughing. I must admit I found the idea funny too. To be quite honest, Moody looks more like a pirate than a priest. Maybe it'll all change later. Maybe he'll look quite different one day when he's grown up. And Charlie Sloane said,
I'd like to go into politics. I want to be a member of Parliament. Then I could do a lot of good.
Mrs. Lindy said it was obvious he didn't know the first thing about politics in that world. She said the Sloanes were far too honest to be good politicians. You must be a shark to go into politics.
And Gilbert Blythe, do you know what he wants to be one day?
I'm sorry, but unfortunately I don't know what Gilbert Blythe's plans for the future are. I don't even know if he has any.
Since the day Gilbert Blythe saved Anne from the river and she refused to accept his apology, he'd ignored her. She didn't exist for him. He often spoke to the other girls, helped them with their work, and laughed with them. After school, he would walk one or another home. But he ignored Anne Shirley. Anne didn't like being ignored by Gilbert. She realized that somewhere along the line, she'd stopped being mad at him. She regretted being so proud and unbending. Anne had wanted to speak to him once, but she hadn't had the courage. She hid her feelings quite well from the others. No one would have guessed she'd forgiven Gilbert a long time ago. She really wanted to be friends with him.
Oh, you poor thing.
It looks as if it's going to be a very heavy snowstorm.
I wonder if Anne will be all right.
Yes, I'm worried. I also thought about that. I think I must go and fetch her from school today.
I really think Miss Stacy could send the children home a bit earlier on days like this.
Miss Stacy, this is the last of the wood. There's none left.
I don't understand it. I was expecting them to deliver the wood for the winter this morning. Well, that's how it is. When it gets too cold... Please calm down, children. It's just a snowstorm.
Let us rather go home now, Miss Stacy.
Yes, and the sooner the better, Miss Stacy.
Yes, we might still be able to get home safely.
No, wait.
Huh?
Some of us live quite far from school. What if the storm suddenly gets much worse? I think we should rather wait.
But there's no more wood left.
There's more than enough wood here to be burned. I think it would be wise if we stayed here until somebody came to help us.
Yes, I think you're right, Gilbert.
Me too.
You've considered the situation very well and made a good suggestion, Gilbert. In the meantime, we'll carry on with our studies.
Yes.
That's it. There goes the last piece.
Calm down, Ruby. The snowstorm won't go on forever.
I don't know why we had to stay here. Nobody's going to come here anyway.
We have to stay here.
Rather put on your coats immediately before it gets so cold in here that we freeze.
No, I don't want to freeze in here. We should have gone home in the first place.
Come on, girls. Control yourselves.
Miss Stacy?
Yes?
I'll go to the Andrews farm to find out from Mr. Andrews if the storm is going to last much longer. If there's anyone who knows the weather, then it's Mr. Andrews.
No, stay here. It's too dangerous.
I'm sure I'll make it to the Andrews farm.
You can't go alone.
I'll go with you.
Gilbert, come back if it gets too dangerous.
Don't worry, we'll make it.
We'll bring you something to eat.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
Worry about a bit of snow?
It's no use. We can stand here and stamp our feet forever. It's still freezing. Gilbert is really so brave.
Not much more so than Charlie and Moody.
But Gilbert suggested it.
I'm going to write your names on the school wall as soon as the weather is better. Ruby Gillis and Gilbert.
Don't you dare! The stove is cold already. Really? What are we going to do?
I have an idea. Why don't we sing to keep the cold away? We'll try to sing louder than the snowstorm. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
When will they come back? Don't worry, Ruby. They'll be back quite soon. But what if they don't come back? What then? What's going to happen to
Ruby,
us?
stop screaming and sing with us.
We won't survive this.
Ruby Gillis. Do you feel better now?
Jane, did you also hear something?
I'm sure it was only the wind.
Well, I don't think so. Gilbert and the others are on their way back.
The worst is over, Miss Stacy.
Yes, they say the storm will be over soon.
The winter was over. It was spring again. Anne studied so hard she was quite tired. She was looking forward to the summer holidays when she'd be able to spend all her time playing and dreaming. But more about that next time.
湖は遠く燃える雲はもっと遠く